Hello friends, I'm Christopher. In this video we're going to take this stool and transform it into this workshop super chair. Oh yeah, stay tuned. So this is my take on a Vyper chair. As I'll explain in the video, I keep getting a million ads for it, so I made my own for a fraction of the cost. It is smooth as butter. I love it. When I sit in it, I feel like I'm captain of the Enterprise. Night shift, of course. And it is just wonderful. Let's dive in. Or rather, I suppose we should talk about why we're doing this video today. I have 3 stools in my workshop now. My favorite stool, let me show you. It looks just like this one, pretty much, except it's got a brown leather top. It's a little bit more robust, and the legs are nicer. You can see that it's older by the way the wood has aged. This belonged to my grandpa, and it was in his barbershop, and therefore it is precious to me. But then I've got 2 of these. They're exactly the same, a little bit thinner, softer ply on the top, and these were just bar stools from a kitchen of a family friend that he was getting rid of them. So I took them, and I've been thinking, what am I gonna do with this over the years? I got one underneath the workbench over there and one over there for when my kids come in the shop or other guests. It's nice to have places to sit. But I find myself, now that I've renovated my workshop, moving around a lot. And I would like to slide instead of get up and move these, because the 4 legs, they kind of like wobble on me. My floor is not level, right? I am in a basement. My workshop is in a basement of a 100-year-old house. So it's got levels to it. It's not level. Anyways, I keep getting an advertisement for Vyper chairs. And odds are, if you're watching this, you're kind of a craftsman or a tradesman or something like that yourself, and you probably get ads for these chairs. They're beautiful. They're made of like steel legs and framing and all plush materials and this and that, and they can seat 300-pound men, etc. But they're like $600, which is cool. If money is not an option for you and that seems like a no big deal, then get yourself the original Vyper chair. But money is a big deal for me, so I'm going to build something analogous for far cheaper. Thus the impetus for this video. But enough waffling, let's dive right in. I'm making the base out of 2 of these 2x2 handy panels. I didn't have any sheets of plywood available to me right now, so this is one thing that I did have to buy. These 2x2 panels cost me $7 each, so about 14 bucks here. They're nice and flat. I want to widen this base here. You can see it's not 24, it's probably what, 18 inches. So we're going to add a couple inches to each side. I think Vyper chairs, the ring is 24 inches in diameter anyways. So if it's good enough for them, it's probably good enough for me. I found the center, just taking a great big compass, and we're going to trace out a circle along the outside. Very nice. I'm not the best circle tracer, but it is fun when I get to use this tool. I recently made a neat place for my kids to go play. Down here, we're calling it the Zen Den. There's a video about that, if you're interested, but I got to cut out a big, beautiful arch for that. So I used my compass on that to make the top of the arch. Satisfying when you can use one of these big tools. I wonder how wide this goes out to. I could probably make a 3-foot circle. Anyways, you can see the circles on there. I'm going to glue these 2 boards together now, just because instead of 3/4 of an inch thick, I want it to be 1.5 inches. I figure I can put some nice bolts through the casters, and they'll add a little bit of structural integrity as my feet are stepping down in this thing. So yeah, gonna glue it up. I redrew the circle here on the bottom piece as well, just to make sure I'm getting the glue all the way to the edge where it should be. Coming to the end of this bottle, I use Titebond 3. I love Titebond 3. Titebond is the best, period, in my humble opinion, but Titebond 3 is nice because it takes a little bit of time before it fully sets. Gives me more time to work with my materials. Anyways, I refilled this particular bottle over and over again. And I'm coming to the end. Let's just take off the lid. Dump. Scrap. Yeah, ooh, that's satisfying. It's like I'm making a pizza, spreading around the glue. This is the content you came to YouTube for. What do you watch today, Dad? Well, I watched a man spread glue around the board like he was making a pizza. I am spreading the glue just beyond the edges, because again, you gotta bring your glue to the edge, or better, otherwise it's not gonna bind. And of course, we'll have some screws going through this when we have the casters. That's additional strength. Lovely. Let's put on the other board. I don't so much care about the orientation. Honestly, I don't. That being said, if the grain's going this way here, I'm going to put it going this way on top. So I guess I do care. Of course, any woodworker who tells you he has enough clamps is a liar. All right, I'll move this out of the way so I can move on to other things. I've got a couple old weights from the gym and other heavy things that I'll put right in the middle. Leave that for an hour or two and then we can move on with this. My big bottle here is at the end of its life, so we just gotta open up the top. It's a little oily, a little chunky. Of course, that chunkiness and oiliness is just like mixing up an old can of paint. Doesn't necessarily matter how, if it's too old, so long as it's been sealed, you can get that all homogeneous again, pourable, usable. All right, through the magic of editing, that was about a minute of vigorous stirring and I've got it. Perfect consistency for pouring and using. If I haven't already said it, I sure meant to. I really love these blue Rockler project mats that I'm working on here. Do you have any of these? You've seen them before. They're silicone based. And so when you spill glue on them, you just let it dry, bend it, cracks right off. All done. There we go, right up to the top again. Oh, kind of a chunk there. Oh well. Got just a little bit left in the bottom. Put that in a jar and say goodbye to that. Quite honest when I said put it in a jar. I know somebody's not going to believe me, so I have to film this. I do a lot of canning, so neighbors give me cans and things, and one of my dear sweet neighbors gave me a couple of these that don't have the sealing lip. And the glass isn't necessarily rated then for water canning. It won't stand up to the pressure, so I'm gonna use it for this. Oh, perfect, look at that, right up to the top. But I do a lot of small parts things, jewelry making and such, and oftentimes I'll put paint into a small reservoir, and then I'll take, you know, something like one of these, dip it in, and then it's like I'm painting with glue. Highly effective. There's always a little problem solving in every project. I want 5 wheels in the bottom of this for extra stability. I've got a couple carts around here with 4 wheels, and if you push them the wrong way, they're a little bit tippy. OSHA has something right with this 5-wheel base thing. Anyways, I had 4 of these, so I thought, oh, I'll buy one more, 3-inch. The closest I could come, because these are like 10 years old. I don't even know what project I used them or pulled them from. It's not the same height. The new one is a little bit taller. It's the closest I could get. That should have been my first sign. Anyways, I'm gonna take this back. Still got the receipt, no problem. But then, and I didn't realize this until I started pulling these out, this one, whatever I scavenged it from, I really did rip it to shreds. And I can't beat it back into form, and I don't do anything with like a blowtorch in my shop, so I'm not going to overheat it. This one I shall cast off into the great beyond. I'll save these 3 in case I ever make anything like a rolling tripod. I don't know. Casters are always good to have on hand, even if you just replace ones off. And I found some beautiful blue 4-inch casters at Menards. I think they're 12 bucks a piece. I'm gonna bite the bullet, get 5 of them. Not as much, it's too much money. It's more money than I wanted to spend, but I think I gotta do it. And I'm gonna go back for the blue ones because we're going to paint all the wood in the stool blue for an extra cool shop aesthetic. Another day's gone by, and the boards are all glued up. So now I'm going to take our circle and measure out 5 equidistant points. Circle is 360 degrees. 360 divided by 5, of course, is 72. And I don't have a good angle measuring fancy tool. So I do it the old-fashioned way. Find a pivot point, 71, 72. There we go. And I just draw my line. Keep the center. Get it started. And move it along. No idea where I got this straight edge. It's very old. It's very bent. Anyways, let me draw the rest of these and make sure it looks good. All right, now for the test. The last one comes in at about 68. So I lost 4 degrees somewhere over 5 turns. It's okay, I can live with that. I don't have a bandsaw, but I do have a jigsaw. So we're just gonna jig this around, staying outside the line. And then we'll take it to the belt sander here and get it up to the line. There's really no great spot to set up the camera to show you this. I just went through and gave it a good first pass. So if I bring it up, you can see how nice and smooth that is. Ooh, ah, right up to the line. I'm gonna go run it through again. Real quick, you'll probably see the camera vibrating. And now that we've got this nice perfect edge, of course, we'll put a nice quarter round on the outside of it, because we don't want our feet nicking anything off. Here comes the vibrate. That's lovely. It didn't vibrate as badly as I thought it was going to either. Up next, I'll put on a nice quarter round. Let's see. We'll do an R6, 0.35 millimeter. Lovely. Where's the lens? There we go. Good enough. Doesn't have to be very pronounced. Again, we just don't want the end chipping off. You know, just kidding. Now that I say it, I'm gonna go one size up. We'll do a 9.5. Here we go. Even better. I haven't done a long form vlog-like video like this in quite some time. If you stuck around, that's cool. You can let me know what you think. Gives me a chance to, I don't know, show some of the things that I usually gloss over, because I still tend to make short form videos less than 10 minutes, even though the holy algorithm wants us to make things more than 10. Whatever. Bigger router bit means I need a wider mouth on the guide bushing. Somewhere in the fray, I lost the size between this and that. Renovated my workshop about 8 months ago at the time of recording this. It was a great purge, a great update, and I feel pretty professional now. Or at least more professional than I was. I think it's a horse apiece whether I take a router to this or if I bring it to the table. So I'm just gonna keep this out here. I got the router set up, put my ears on. I always run a test on a piece of scrap. And this is the only tool that I don't have a good dust collection set up. I wanna jerry rig something on my fence, right? So I can get a nice hose, suck it up here. But don't have that right now, so you'll see lots of sawdust, and then I'll clean it up with the vacuum afterwards. That's definitely what I'm looking for. You see all the stuff flying up. doesn't really matter where I stand, you know. It's gonna rotate this way no matter what. Might as well stand here and just did it. So, this turned out really well. Exactly what I want. Looks like one giant cookie. So, I like the height of this stool as it is, right? It's bar stool height. It's perfect for my benches. I'm a tall man. If I were to keep this stool this height and add the 4-inch casters plus the 1.5 inch thickness of the wafer, that would just be ridiculous. It would be like standing the entire time. So instead, I am just going to do the best I can. Lay this on top. There we go. Bring it up to it and mark a line. There. Everything is relative. It's approximate, and in this case, good enough. That's one of my favorite YouTubers, north of the border. He does sculpture, really neat things. He says, it's not just good, it's good enough. And we're back the next day. I bit the proverbial bullet and bought 5 of these. They're blue, they're elastic, they're 4-inch, and look at the difference between the 3 and the 4. This is what I was going to use, this is what I'm using. Load bearing capacity on this is like 250 something. Anyways, 5 of them put me back $60. But they're premium. Well, here we are, using those nice 5 points, equidistant points we drew earlier. I'm just marking out where this is going to be. Orienting my casters horizontally, just to spread out that weight more along the outside, as opposed to that. And if I have it this way, the wheel can turn out just a little bit more than if I had it this way. It's just a little bit, but I'll take it. I'm going to be using lag screws to hold these all on. So I'm just going to drill all my holes in, using the nice drill press. Make sure they all go to the same length, nice and straight. You know the drill. Rinse, wash, and repeat. Should I have taken a moment to put my nice fence on and table? Yeah, but this piece of scrap will do for now. Here we go. We got it hacked off. Splendid. And it is not perfect. There's the little wobble. We'll be correcting that with screws and with shims. I just want to make sure I'm getting it evenly spaced everywhere. Again, the legs weren't perfect. It's not a perfect square at the base here. We have to be approximate. We have to be patient with ourselves. We have to work the wood. We are woodworkers. Yes? Well, I'm a woodworker. Maybe you're a mechanic. You got recommended this video because you were going to buy a Vyper chair. I'm going to trace out around the base here. It doesn't have to be perfect. A, because it's going to get painted over, and B, because I'm really just using this to find the center. We're going to drill a hole down, straight down from that. And then we'll know from the base where to drill up into the chair. Makes sense? And we're going to find the 3, and we're probably going to level in. Screw in these 3, put a small shim right here, and then screw in number 4. Oh, saints alive. Okay, I put the first one in. It was good. I'm just following this hole now that I've got it lined up, flipped over. And of course I didn't drill them straight. I drilled it at kind of an angle to follow the angle of the legs. plunging that as far as it'll go. Oh, perfect. You always got a counter drill because you don't want to split the leg. I'm using 3-inch deck screws here today. Got one of the old legs. I'll take the leg, square it up, and then cut off a real thin wafer. When you're kind of freehanding something as thin as this with the way my miter saw set up, you just gotta take it slowly, right? Let the teeth do the work with repetition. Don't try to force it. That's when the leg's gonna go flying. That's all right. Oh, I'm not even centered. Feels good. Will feel better when it's the height of the caster is high again. But as far as level goes, it's all right. I have plenty of this blue paint here left over. That color I don't think has a specific name, although it is meant to match some of the Rockler things like the tubes and the quick connect. You can see that I painted this pole a little while back. Lots left over. So that's what we're going to be doing. Of course, I disassembled the chair that I had just attached, making sure to mark things. I've got this flipped over on the bottom. All I'm going to do is carefully get the bottom section of the rounded over part. I don't need to actually paint the bottom side, and I'm not worried about how it looks because you're never going to see the bottom. That's why I'm leaving these markings as well. There was no need to sand them off or anything. Besides, if I ever do flip the chair for whatever reason, I kind of like looking at those marks. I sometimes will, I don't know, need to disassemble some old project, and I see the marks and it comes flooding back to me like, oh yeah, I remember I was doing this and that. Or sometimes I even remember what I was listening to. Normally I've got YouTube on in the background. I like to listen to all sorts of things. Right now I'm listening to a video on the origins of the Germanic people in relation to cliche Roman conquest. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I'll probably brand this as well. I always put my initials, KU, and the year in which I made a project. So that'll go down there. Do you sign your projects? Even something as inconsequential as shop furniture? I do. These 4 screws here that I'm using to spin this around, those are the screws that went into the base of the stool actually. They are serving double duty, triple duty, right? They're holding on to the stool, letting me spin it. And now, as I turn it around, perfectly without getting paint on myself. Famous last words. Oh, a little bit of paint. Now we've got the holes. All these holes did have a little bit of tape over them so that I can help line it up again, but apparently some of that tape peeled off. No big deal. I'll start over here by you so you have something nice to look at. I'm not skimping on the paint, but I'm not making it gloopy. Anyways, I'll do this and check in with you in just a bit. When this dries, it will get a second coat. But for now, let's do the stool. I won't be doing the very underside here, there's no point. But the legs, yes, absolutely. What do you think about me using these stools? Would you, do you like this notion I have of using the materials that you have on hand wherever possible first before buying new, even though I had to buy the casters? I do. Or do you think I should have let these stools alone? Sold them. Well, the first coat of paint is on. It's drying and soaking up really nicely into the wafer, but taking its time on the already coated legs. Like so many things in life, I'm gonna sleep on it. I'm gonna just let this dry for a good long time. While I'm sleeping, here's the second one. I said I had 2. I'm considering chopping this off at the legs and just using the cushion as a backrest. So I'll sleep on it, and I guess you'll see what I think. Well, another night and morning has come and gone. I've got 2 coats on here, they're dry, and I have to say that turned out just perfectly. Got a nice sheen to it. 2 coats is always the right thing in my opinion. And now you might consider this overkill, but I'm going to do a couple coats of polyacrylic. I learned when I started making furniture that was having a lot of exposure to my kids. Good polyacrylic really does hold up well to abuse, in my experience. I know every woodworker has their own opinion on varnish. If I were making, you know, a piece of fine furniture, as I am wont to do, right now, and of course it all depends on the wood and the kind of project that you're doing, but I've been finishing a lot of things lately with oiled linseed oil because I like what it does to the color. I'm in like a rich color mood personally on a lot of my wood projects. And then I've been finishing it with varnish, with this polyacrylic, just because it can really stand up to a lot of abuse. So this has been Deep Thoughts with Christopher. But as I'm going through this, I'm certainly developing an appreciation for the cost of materials and labors that go into the actual Vyper chair. Already I've spent about $15 on the wood for this wafer, and another $60 on the wheels to get the premium 4-inch wheels. Cover that there. I had this stool on hand, but if I didn't, you know, and I was just starting from scratch, I'd probably buy metal rod that would go up the middle, you know, a nice coil, and use that. That would cost more, and of course the wood used to make the legs, I had to make the whole thing from scratch. And if I was making it up to a real fit standard, I don't know, I might spend up near 150 bucks. And that's still, what, a fourth to a fifth the price of buying a Vyper chair. But there you're getting steel, and you're getting powder coated steel. And of course you don't have to do all the steps that we're doing here of building and going through all that effort. I like doing it. Maybe you like doing it too, just while you're watching. Oh, this foam brush has seen better days. I can already tell that this coat's going to be bumpy. It's a shame. I'll get a different brush and do this. And I'll check in with you after the second coat of poly is on. While we wait for the polyurethane to dry on those, last night before I went to bed I talked about cutting up this and using it as a backrest. For now I'm deciding against that. I went to the Joann fabric store, which is I think going bankrupt and closing nationwide. They're wheeling and dealing, and I got some nice foam, 2-inch thick foam here, and a remnant. All this for $7. The woman said they couldn't sell anything less than by the yard, but I kept kind of saying like, hey, isn't the store closing, right? Well, once you close any day now, bankruptcy is just going to liquidate all the assets and things are going to go in the trash. I don't think she liked to heckle, so she gave in, which was great. This foam was only $5, and this fabric was $5.41 because it was a remnant, and the remnants were on sale for I think 60 or 75% off. All right. It's not vinyl. I wish it would have been vinyl. What do they call it? Scuba Hex Black. 94% polyester, 6% spandex. So there's a little bit of a stretch to it. can see a nice sheen, but it should be as good as anything to, oh yeah, perfect, to brush off, right? I'm gonna make this not 8 inches thick, maybe 6-inch backrest. The foam, put a nice board on the back of that, wrap it, seal it real tight. I think that'll be a nice cozy thing. I don't know, experimenting here. We're creative. We're not working the wood, now we're working these materials. I said to one of the girls at the checkout, I'm definitely out of my element at a craft store. They did not laugh. Here's our backboard. 8 wide, 6 tall. That's what Vyper has theirs listed as. If it's good enough for them, it's good for me. I suppose we don't want it too big, don't want to be relying on it to rest. Fit in the small of your back. I cut the foam just bigger than it all around. What do I have? Craft Bond. Had this can for a long time. Use it on all sorts of stuff. It does say it's good for foam. We'll see just how good. This may be a bad idea. I'm just sad it's not eating the foam alive. Oh yeah, there's stickiness to it. That's got to be enough. And we're just going to center it-ish. Good enough. Well, the paint is drying on the back of the backrest, but the polyacrylic second coat is done on these and they look beautiful. I'm going to drive the screws through just a little bit to help line it up on the base. I've got a mark here and a mark here, and that tells me they line up that way. But while we're here in this orientation, it's a little tipsy-topsy, right? Right? Because of the squishy cushion. Squishy cushion. Oh, say that 5 times fast. Squishy cushion, squishy cushion, squishy. Nope. I'm gonna put these on. Again, holes are drilled. All the hard parts done. If I didn't say it earlier, I'm using 1-inch lag screws for this. I couldn't find my my driver attachment. It's pretty irritating, so we got to do it the old-fashioned way, which means I might need to put it on the ground for leverage. Yep. Okay. Putting this on the ground was the right choice. I'm not too bummed that I can't find my my socket wrench attachment for my driver. This doesn't really take that long. There is something satisfying doing things a little bit more analog. A good old set of socket wrenches. My expectation is that 5 wheels seem really, really stable. I sat on plenty of 4-wheel chairs and they're fine. But something about that 5 wheels just seems premium. As I'm doing this, I'm thinking of more ways that I could improve this design for my own specific use. Since I have a solid wafer on the bottom, obviously a shelf comes to mind. I could build a box right in the middle of the chair. But the problem with that then is all the crap that's just gonna get stuck down there. I'm thinking dust, even though my dust collection's pretty good. I don't know. Keep that idea in the back of my head. I don't have any interest in like putting a cup holder or on here. I'm surrounded by workshops. Don't need an extra wide base. Ready for the big reveal? Oh boy. That's a big boy. Ooh. Let it go. Wee. Oh, feels good. Feels good. How's the height? Oh yeah. Putting my feet up. Damn. Oh, I can just push off. Ooh. Oh, guys. This is satisfying. I wasn't planning on feeling this good. Oh. Look at that. Oh, it just goes and goes, and it is smooth, and the floor of my basement is wonky as. This is so good. Yes, 4-inch casters. Excellent, excellent choice. Oh boy. There we go. I built this jig 9 years ago. Nothing like a good finger joint for boxes and things like this. Honestly, it's just going to be ridiculously strong. Anybody who knows finger joints understands that. So for this one, which I'm going to use as the base, coming out underneath a chair in the back like this, I drew a slight curve at the back. And then, I think you can see it from your perspective. See how it kind of comes down at an angle like that? What I did was I just took a random scrap of wood, stuck it in the front here, and whatever that angle is, that's the angle of my backrest. Should be up to 10 inches. So let's just nest these together. See how it looks. Live and live in color. Oh, are the finger joints really tight? Oh, you don't say. Where are we stuck? Oh, off. There we go. I gotta stop. I'm gonna need help to tell it well. I got a story about fame and money. And it's got my girls on Playboy Bunny. I don't wanna wait cops to arrive. I wanna tell my story live and live in color. Yeah, anyway. Come on, man. Okay, so it's a little tight. It'll take some finesse, shall we say, but once this is on, it's not going anywhere, so it might as well be made of metal. This joint will not fail. Something else will fail before that does, so I'll make it work. Well, accidents happen. It's okay to fail. Yesterday, at the end of the day, I tried to rapid fire out this as a prototype for my back rest. And you can see it's finger joints, but damn if I didn't dial that in correctly. And it was just too tight, even after I knocked out a couple of the fingers. Of course, this is solid as a rock, and the glue joints would not fail first, but it looks like crap. So instead of doing finger joints, I'll just make some bigger box joints, but the principle will be the same. All right, we've got box joints. They're big, they're boxy, they work just fine. It's not as extreme of a tight fit as those finger joints were, and that's for the better. We can use our jar of glue actually from earlier for this exact purpose. Oh, perfect. I couldn't have planned it better, and I didn't plan it. Janet planned it. Janet Planet. Janet Planet is the name of a jazz singer here in Oshkosh. I didn't sleep well last night, guys. Oh shit. I don't think I got 4 hours, 3 hours. Just one of those nights. Which means I'm extra loopy with my dad jokes, my shop jokes. So like I said, this won't be the tightest fit or as tight of a fit as the finger joints would have been, which is fine. Because when this is done, we're going to clamp it, let it dry, and we will subsequently run a dowel through it, thus locking it in place forever and ever. Oh man, add a little more glue. I know there are better jigs for doing box joints and things, but I just did it on my scroll saw. Just laid it out, cut it. If I had a band saw, I would have done that. Same thing, horse a piece. Take two. There we go. Just nestle them nice and tight. Obviously we'll be cutting off the excess when it's done. I'm probably going to sand this into a little bit of an angle. There we go, like a curve around the bottom. You can see it does have an angle. Here we go, the backrest. Don't know what that angle is. I just used a piece of scrap and said, yeah, that looks good. So we let this dry. I've got all this extra foam from the backrests, so I've been thinking, and I thought, well, what the heck? We might as well make some armrests too. Because if I wanted that on the Vyper Max chair, that's another 100, I don't know what, 150, 180 bucks. Something like that. So let's make two of them. And how am I determining the size? Well, I don't know, this is about 8 inches, looks like 8.5. And I'm just making it 4 inches wide. Why? Because I laid my arm down and it felt good. A quick note, after a little experimentation, I found in my shop that the scroll saw was the correct answer. It cut through these perfectly, like a hot iron through butter. Happy that I found the right way to do it. So we have here our armrest and the backrest. Imagine the seat is here. I'll mount the armrest first. We've got a little bit of a notch there, so they can slide and fit well underneath the table. These will get their foam and their covering. And the backrest. So that'll look pretty slick. And before we get the foam on, you know the drill. At this point, it's 2 coats of blue paint and 2 coats of polyurethane. And that's it with the build. It's pretty cool. All we're doing now is waiting for paint to dry and then doing the final assembly. I didn't pre-drill these ahead of time to go underneath the chair. Didn't think I really needed to. After all, it is just going on the bottom into the pre-existing wood on the bottom of that frame. Before I paint it over, you can see how nicely those box joints turned out. Right? You rounded over all the edges. And there's the dowel that went right through them. I'm not worried about that ever breaking. Right? Who says you can't use high quality woodworking techniques on something that you could have just used screws for? That nobody's ever going to see. But I will always know I did the right thing by putting the extra effort in. There we go, completely covered by the paint. Makes for a good story though. I think that's something about, there's a story about integrity in there, probably. Doing the right thing even when nobody's looking. In this case, using the right technique, even though no one will be able to see it. I really like using doweling as a technique in much of the furniture that I make. It's really satisfying. It's plenty strong. We'll let that sit and dry for a sec. So the argument can be made, well, why do you need to bother for this? I don't know, because I want. Because I want to. Because I want to. Why do anything in my shop? Because I want to. Well, this is going to be kind of boring, so I'll see you when it's time to put everything together. These are all done. They look beautiful. So shiny, so even, so blue. Go blue. Now it's time to add the foam for the armrests. Smell that glue. We're just gonna let that bond work for a while. Once I feel comfortable flipping it around, I've got these pre-cut. Stretch them, staple them underneath. I redid the backrest just to give you a feel for what it's gonna look like. Nice and taut, stapled on the back, folded over, all of the stuff. Looks pretty nice. I'm satisfied with that. It's got a good squish to it. The material goes back nicely. So that's how the armrests will look. Here we are, gonna put the armrests on. They're clamped into place. Of course, I pre-drilled the holes. I think as wonky as it is, it's better to tip myself upside down. There we go. I really want that tight up against the bottom. The screws aren't the longest. I'm using 1¼ inch screws because I don't want to penetrate this piece of wood underneath that's used here. It's not the thickest, it's not the finest material. In another life, I may have completely rebuilt this. But then, like, what's the point of using the stool, right? It's, sugar. What's the name of that? Archimedes broom? Is it Archimedes? Right? If you take a broom and you replace the bristles, and then you replace the handle, and you keep doing that, replace the bristles, you replace the handle, is it the same thing that you started with? Is it still the same broom? Anyways, I still wanted this to be the same stool, just enhanced. There is a seam here, so that's what I'm choosing to be the back. In case you're wondering how I picked the orientation. Here you are now, underneath. I'll flip this over. You can see, here's the notch that I cut out. Said notch is going to just perfectly go over there. And now it's positioned exactly how I want it. So I'm just going to center this. Clamp it up and then screw. In this case, I'm using 2-inch screws. That works just fine. Penetrates the 1.5 inch of the 2x4 and then a 1/2 inch into this 3/4 material. Just making them all a little bit sunk. Here's the big reveal. Da 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 da. Oh, all right. Ooh, my head's cut off, but boy, look at that. Look at that, perfect. You know, you don't need to see my head. Look at that. Ah, that's great. Here, I'll be sitting up at a stool like normal, and if I need to just sit back, well, that's good. See how the back works? Perfect, super sturdy everywhere. Oh yeah, right? Here I am at the workshop. I'll be up doing blah blah, not typing, doing tool things. Okay, take a break, sip a beer, back at it, push off. Oh yes, let's do this fine piece over here, or this putsy thing of sanding. Cool. Come over to the scroll saw, which happens to be over here right now. Doing some scrolling. Chicka, 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 chicka. Rest. Enjoy. Shop stools, good things. You know, I spend a lot of time in my workshop and my floors are that. And I always wear comfortable shoes or sandals or some sort of footwear. But being on your feet all the time, you know, it can pay a toll. And I may look young, but I'm 36, which is young, but it's middle age. And I'm developing, dun dun dun, varicose veins. So I don't want to necessarily stand the entire time. I think this is going to be beneficial for my health. Maybe you're in the same boat. Oh, don't mind if I just lean back. Very cool. So for my closing thoughts, aside from, gee, is it hard to get all of me in the frame because I'm a big guy, and to also get the chair, it's fantastic. It's super comfortable. All the mass, you know, aside from me, it's really down there. Wide base, not in the least bit tippy. Very mobile, very comfortable. I know it's going to save my knees in particular a lot as a problem area. It was satisfying to build. Hopefully now I will get fewer ads for Vyper chairs on my social media feeds. Again, this is not a jab at Vyper. I'm a capitalist. If you want to buy this product, go right ahead. If you've got the cash for it, awesome. They advertise it as the last chair you're ever going to need. Probably true. They're super cool. And hey, they're made in Wisconsin, up in Green Bay. That's like 45 minutes north of me. We Wisconsinites, we measure in time, not in miles. You know, an hour and 15 if there's a Packer game. And high quality stuff, right? I made this out of wood. And wood is high quality, don't get me wrong, especially the joinery techniques that I used. It's going to last indefinitely, right? Unless I get, you know, have a 400-pound guest come and plop on it. I don't think it's rated for that, right? It's not steel. But what would fail first? Maybe the backrest, maybe the armrest, the screws that are holding this in. But of course, this went on first and the backrest went through it. I don't know. It's hard to tell what the first fail point is going to be. I can't beat steel though, right? So if you are thinking, boy, I really need to upgrade my shop chair, but I don't want to take the time to build it like this guy did, you could buy it. There is something to be said now about having 4-inch casters on the bottom. That really is premium. That's the coup de grace. I don't think you'd want 5-inch. I mean, I don't know if you'd want 5-inch or not, but for the 2-foot base that I've got here, 5 casters around it, the balance is great. When you upgrade from 5 to 4, the tippiness factor just goes away. You can go in any direction and there's always some wheel that's pointing forward. You know, yeah, you guys know, you're shop people. The armrests are a pretty cool touch. I think if you buy that on Vyper, that's like $180 or so add-on. For me, it was a scrap piece of pine and 2 scrap pieces of 2x4 and the extra cushion that I got from the Joann Fabrics going out of business. Super comfy. Mine's not adjustable up and down though. Theirs is adjustable, and I think you can even change the angle here, really maximize your comfort. And I can't speak to the difference between the high density foam that I have here and any industrial foam that they might be using, having not experienced one myself. Vyper, sponsor me, invite me up to Green Bay, I'll do a whole thing, it'll be fun. But I like what I did here. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, this different style with me talking in long form, no music, just doing stuff and talking about it. I think it's a beautiful piece. The blue goes with everything else that seems to be in the shop these days. It is robust. I feel proud of it, and the project was worthwhile. So with whatever you're building these days, I wish you happy woodworking, and subscribe. And until next time, I've been Christopher. Bye.